Koinant, or good day, I should be saying, fellow South Africans and citizens of the world. And this is a very spontaneous live stream, but a very, very important one, with someone who wants to talk about South Africa. And he's a lovely fellow. I'll play you a short clip of his video in a couple of minutes. Goeiedag! Good day, fellow South Africans and citizens of the world. And look, while I was in Fiji, I got this email from a fellow by the name of Muzi Nkosi. And Muzi is one of those people who I admire. He stands out for what he believes in. And what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to play you a short 2-minute clip of what he had to say about the Loving Life channel. Okay, let's start off with that, okay?
Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Straight Up. Today I'd like to talk about the person called Loving Life. Sir, you are a South African who left the country. I think you live in Australia, I'm not sure. It's been a while since I've watched your videos. I'm not here to disrespect you, sir, at all. But I have something to say. So I'm part of the youth in South Africa, and I agree with you that the black majority in this country are retarded. Our government is absolutely retarded, corrupt to the core, pretty much satanic, and they will suffer the consequences according to the Lord's word. But if I may, I'd like to criticize you on a few things. I'm not here to start a fight. In fact, I'd love for us to work together. I'd love for us to discuss certain things, because clearly not all of us black people are the same, right? I truly uphold this book as the word of life. There is no other greater book. I used to be a Muslim, so I know everything about Islam. I've studied most of all the religions, so I know Jesus Christ is the only way. So I'd like us to work together. My biggest problem is that when I used to watch your videos last year, in the comment sections, in your comment section, there was a great deal of pure racism, pure hatred for Negroes, which is understandable. But you need to understand that blacks like me get killed by blacks in power, get killed by blacks of the majority. Because of how I even sound and how I pronounce words, I can get killed for it. You see, I am one with these people. I speak their language, but they still want to kill me. You see, and me addressing you and wanting to work with you, immediately they call me an Uncle Tom. So I believe we're on the same side. If you care about the well-being of South Africa, the Rainbow Nation in its entirety, then sir, I'm going to have to ask that, I have no right to tell you what to do, but I'm just going to ask. I'm just going to, point out the fact that your language in your videos are extremely racially divisive. You supremely draw a thick line in the ground to separate whites and blacks. Sir, according to this book, the Lord hates racism. We know that is true because when Mary and Aaron confronted Moses as to Moses, why the heck did you marry a Cushite, an Ethiopian? What's wrong with you? Did not the Lord come down? I forgot, but it's somewhere in Numbers. I did a video on it once. Did the Lord not come down and give Mary leprosy for it? The Lord said, how dare you speak to Moses this way about this problem, right? Most prophets, I talk to them in dreams. But Moses, we talk face to face. And you come here, talk to him about this nonsense. The Lord left, gave Mary, is it Mary? I forgot. Miriam, leprosy, right? Also, we know Timothy is half Jew, half Greek.
Okay, now that's just the video that Muzi put up, and I obviously took up his challenge. I'm very happy to talk to
South African cabin
people who have differing points of views, and that's what this channel is all about. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to get Muzi on Skype, and we're going to have a conversation. And I think it's going to be a very interesting and enlightening conversation, because look, I have had a chat to Muzi a short while ago, and he understands the dilemma that South Africa sits in, and you know, it is quite tragic. But let's see if we can get Muzi on a line. Here we go. I'm going to call him up right now. Hi, Muzi.
Hi, Scott. How are you?
Good, thank you. Good, thank you. Now, look, I played a very short clip from the video that you did regarding my channel, so people have a bit of background. Now, look, before we even get into this conversation, I have to say to you that I just absolutely admire you. I'll tell you why. Because, you know, you're someone who obviously has a huge understanding about the things that are happening in South Africa. And I'm talking from an intellectual perspective. And I think the problem that is happening in South Africa is that a lot of the ANC cadres who've been put in power, who've been put in management positions, don't have a friggin' clue about what they're doing. What's your view on that?
I totally agree. You made a video about the BEE system. Honestly, black economic empowerment was a bad idea. In my opinion, it looks like a form of reverse racism, you know, because it's not like they hiring anyone who's actually qualified to do the job. They're just taking their brothers and sisters from the boondoos and just putting them in positions, and they have no idea what they're doing. That is like destroying all of us, and then the economy suffers, and then they still would like to blame white people for it, as like this is why everything failed, when it's clearly their fault.
Exactly. Now, look, I have you got your audio on there? Because it's coming through as like a repeat.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, if you can just turn that down a bit, that'd be good.
You mean my audio for the computer?
Yeah, just turn it right down.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so can you still hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, all right, that's much better now, because it was too high before. Okay, so getting onto that point, Muzi, look, you're a 24-year-old man, you're single, you're living in South Africa, you were born after 1994, so you never experienced the days before apartheid. Now, as a young black fellow growing up in South Africa, what were you told about the days before 1994?
In all honesty, I was not told a single thing. I used to stay in Pretoria. I was born in Pretoria. I stayed there for a couple of years, but my parents never told me anything about apartheid, so on and so on. I was completely ignorant, and I remember everyone was happy. Everyone was still okay. I still have memories of when I was 3 years old, and coming to a different province, so on and so on. Things were still okay. I still didn't know what had happened in the past. My parents never said anything. The schools I went to never said anything until grade 9, where we started to learn about what happened in apartheid. That was the first time there was division amongst the black kids and the white kids. Because all the black kids got upset, and some of the white kids were happy how strong their people were. And I remember asking the question, that's like, guys, why are you so happy? It's not like what we saw, those videos of people being shot, so on and so on, was a good thing. That was a horrible thing. Why are you doing this? And they were just like, well, yeah, it is horrible, but you have to admit it was pretty funny. And I started thinking as like, I wish they never showed us that video. I wish we didn't learn about it, because now there's division, now there's hate, you know. And from that day onwards, there was a division. And I kept on telling people as to like, you know what, in order to end racial tension, we need to start talking about it, because before grade 9, there was no tension at all. As far as I had observed, there was no racial tension until we were made aware that white people did this, so on and so on. And as a black person, this is how you're supposed to feel for what had happened. And the person I am now, according to this, the Lord's book, it's clear why those things had to happen. It was called judgment for idolatry. Europeans had to come over to Africa to punish the Africans for their idolatry, because they weren't worshiping the Lord properly, right? So it's a form of judgment, where we know God raises a smaller nation to take over a bigger nation, because that's how he makes his name known amongst the nations. He's also referred to as the God of Israel. Israel is a very small nation, surrounded by super big countries and powers, but that's how he made his name known amongst the nations, because he was in favor of a small nation, and that's how he made his name known, basically.
Right. Now,
Right.
look, I've studied South African history, and the first people to go into the interior of South Africa were the white missionaries. Campbell, there's so many other missionaries that have gone in there, but Campbell was the one who actually helped the Griqua people settle in a place called Griquatown, which at that time was called Klaarwater. And that was actually the first settlement north of the Orange River in South Africa. And that was back in the early 1800s. And Christianity and that overlap with the black population is a huge part of South Africa that seems to be forgotten, because when we talk about politics and power and all this sort of stuff that's going on, greed and theft and corruption is paramount, but that is against the whole ideology of Christianity. What's your view on that?
I totally agree. When I look at all of Africa, and every African nation has gotten independence, instead of doing the right thing and empowering the people, they decided to be greedy. They decided to be corrupt. There was an article I once saw where Jacob Zuma said corruption is a Western idea. That was his way of saying, well, I can take everybody's tax money and keep it for myself. It's not like I wrote the definition of corruption. For me, my definition, that's not corruption. That's just how things are in my culture, So, yeah, the government is super corrupt, super greedy. They truly don't care about their own people, even. They don't care about anyone. And it's clear that they're not Christians at all. They just super traditional fundamentalist. It's a form of a monarch, in all honesty. They treat the country like it's their own personal kingdom. This is not a democracy at all. They don't care. This is pretty much like Swaziland. So yeah, it's very bad. It's very bad.
So what's your view? I'm sorry, I'm getting a lot of echo coming back on the audio again.
Oh.
So what's your view on what's happening with the state-owned enterprises in South Africa right now?
It's a disaster. Eskom has initiated. Yesterday was stage four load shedding. Right now, stage 2 load shedding. It's madness because it just shows that the ANC is a bunch of retards. They just want to hire people they can control. An example of this, I won't say where I'm from, who my dad is, but he had a position and he is very much so educated, has a lot of degrees, but he deserved that position that was advertised. And the government said, you know what, no, we're going to put somebody else who's uneducated simply because they want to control that person, right? But that person decided to step down because they couldn't handle the job. So the government, state-owned businesses, enterprises are very much so governed by a pack of idiots. South African Airlines is also a state-owned enterprise, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and you saw what happened. Like it's underwater right now. It requires a bailout, I think, of like a couple of billion rands. So look at this. Black empowerment. Yet we need a handout. We need a bailout. What's going on here? Why do they not hire people who are qualified? In the name of diversity and equality, you tarnish the whole country, all the enterprises. It's very much so stupid, and I just cannot understand how they themselves don't see that, you know what, this form of business is not working. The country's going to go down. So, yeah.
Now let me ask you, Muzi, do you think that the big problem here is that there's a huge disconnect between the culture of the white population who understand the Western form of democracy and these ANC guys who were, okay, they were freedom fighters coming in to save South Africa who have absolutely no understanding of what democracy is. Do you think that's a huge issue?
Yes, it is. I was recently told that the ANC long ago was funded by Russia, which is communist, and that would somewhat explain a lot, because that means their intention wasn't really democracy at all. But I'd say you're right. There is a massive disconnect in the culture, but how can I say this? In all honesty, yeah, there is a massive disconnect, and let's say I think the ANC does understand the proper European Western style of democracy, but they just don't care because they personally just want to enrich themselves. So whether they understand it or not, in essence, they really, really don't care. They just don't care.
So what do you see is going to happen in South Africa under an ANC government?
I think we're going to end up like Zimbabwe. We are so blessed right now that, okay, there is drought in the country right now, but things are not as horrible. And a lot of people have been saying exactly that phrase, things aren't that bad yet, for like 10 years. I've been watching on the news for 10 years, people are saying it's not that bad yet, it's not that bad yet. Are we waiting until things get that bad? You know, under the ANC rule, this place is going to end up like Zimbabwe. I believe they are selling us to China. Soon China is going to just come in here and just own everything, put everybody in chains, so on and so on. It's going to be a new form of colonialism. But the ANC people in power, they already shook hands with the Chinese. So when they come here, they probably have secret bunkers somewhere, or they're going to fly to Hong Kong.
Dubai.
You know. Pardon?
Dubai.
Oh, Dubai. Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, the ANC is sucking us dry right now. And people like me, young black people who have something to say, ideas they'd like to share to, change everything and have a moral revolution in the country, we're not given a platform. I always watch the news here, and you always see a bunch of old people who were born in the 70s, 60s, 50s talking for us. And it's like, what the heck do you know? Because I'm unemployed. I have a degree, but I'm unemployed, right? And they talking as if things could turn out better. They always preach Pan-Africanism. And it's like, you're all lying. You're absolutely lying. And might I add, that complete barbarian, Julius Malema, he's a Pan-Africanist in a way as well, and a communist. So he's always preaching, fight the white people. He's always preaching, let African brothers come in from, the north, so on and so on. But he hates his own neighbor right here. So how on earth, Mr. Julius, can you want, let's say, Nigerian brothers to come through when you don't even love me? We could be of the same tribe, but you don't love me. Now you want to bring somebody up there. You don't know them, right? It's a scam. They're trying to destabilize this country, as it's happening in America with the liberal, far left liberals who are letting the Mexicans come in to destabilize the entire economy, so everything just falls down completely. So the ANC is killing us.
Yeah. Now look, you raised Julius Malema, and I need to say that Floyd Shivambu and Julius Malema and the VBS Mutual Bank, a huge scandal. They should have been put inside prison years ago over that, and yet somehow they got out of it. Now, this is the problem in South Africa. If you are too big to jail, in other words, you're politically connected in South Africa, you can do what you bloody well like, and no one does anything about it. And I think that is why South Africa is failing. Black economic empowerment has played a huge role in destroying in South Africa, but at a political level, you look at the politicians like Ace Magashula, who've clearly been involved in huge corruption and never go before the courts. What are your thoughts on that?
It's not fair. It's not right. These people deserve jail time, and not even for their actual actions per se, but what they preach. Like Julius Malema, the dude preaches hatred and murder. He preaches genocide to one group of people. You're right. Whoever's too big for jail because of their power, influence, or money, they never go to jail, and it's really not fair. And this discourages the youth. How then are we supposed to be upright moral citizens when people who have committed crimes, and there's evidence for that, never ever are served justice? This is why it's a circus right now with the raping and killing of women all over the place right now. It's because, first of all, young men don't have a role model. Young men grow up without fathers here all the time. No one's addressing the real problem. That's look, if there is no family structure, everything is going to fall to the wayside, right? So if we constantly see idiots get away with massive, massive theft, massive corruption, and justice is never served, well, I'm pretty sure a lot of people were like, well, I'm going to try my own way then. Everybody then indulges in wrongdoing, bad forms of business, and no one can actually trust each other because then everybody's just looking for themselves, looking after themselves. And if you want to partner up with somebody, your first objective is how you're going to screw that person over because your only role models are people who screw over the country. So they are like creating this massive trend of just corruption and wrongdoing in the name of, well, white people did far worse than us. So yeah, it's bad.
So what we're talking about here is white monopoly capitalism, basically, which Malema always talks about when he's put on the back foot. You know, what I find absolutely incredible is that you look at any state-owned enterprise in South Africa today, which used to be highly profitable and used to put money back into the tax revenue to supplement and build up that revenue base, they're all now completely stuffed. You know, the billions of dollars that the government is having to now take from taxpayers to keep them going. South African Airways, Transnet. I put a video up today about Transnet in Durban. The port in Durban is at a standstill. This is a huge port where, goods are supposed to come in and goods are supposed to come out, and it's at a standstill. Now, if someone can explain to me why that is not incompetence, I would love to know the answer. What are your views on that?
I absolutely agree that it is incompetence, but surely it cannot be just incompetence. There is no way that these people cannot see the effects of their governing style. There's just no ways. They have to see that we're really messing things up. There has to be a bigger picture. That they purposely destroying this country for one reason. And people, in the end, it dives into like conspiracy theories, but I can't just say it's just incompetence. Yes, it is, but they're doing it on purpose for one reason. And I personally believe they just want China to come in and take over everything, And when the Chinese take over everything, man, things are really, really going to change for the absolute worst. Like, it's going to be bad, And what I'm always shocked about is the pushback when we see this level of incompetence. It's just little words, little statements on Twitter. I don't see people gathering up. Those who do gather up, unfortunately, they do it the wrong way, burn hospitals, they burn things they need, burn buses, burn schools, burn textbooks, or they have guns, so on and so on. There is no direct intellectual challenge to those in power at an open public domain as to like, come, let us talk. Let's see if your ways of management are actually helping this country versus our ways that we have written here. Here's a program. This is how we'd like to initiate things here, how things are going to be. There doesn't seem to be that. There does not seem to be a call to debate with these people in power. It's just little statements, So I wish the youth had more backbone. Instead of like just digitally tweeting, so on and so on. Let there be a group that unites and stands and has one singular vision, one mind, speaking the same thing as to this is what we want. We are going to inherit this land. You people in ANC are very old people. You want to die soon. We're not willing to just take what's left after you've sucked everything dry. No ways. We're not willing to do that. This is what needs to be done. We have to target and combat this level of incompetence instead of accepting it as that's just how it is. No, that's cowardness. That's cowardly. I don't approve of that.
Muzi, I have to tell you that you are probably one of the most interesting people I've ever had on my live stream because, you know, on my live stream, and I know you've suggested that it's racist at times and stuff like that, and I get that. Okay, I understand that. But you are a black man, and you have some very, very enlightening and well thought out ideas. I mean, I am. You can't tell. You have no idea how excited I am that we've actually made contact, because I've been looking for someone like you who I can actually talk to, and I'm hoping that perhaps in the months ahead we can have a regular discussion talking about
Yes.
what's happening in South Africa and getting the perspective from your viewpoint. What are your thoughts on that?
Sounds great. Sounds great. I feel personally, I'd like to share with everyone that recently I had a mental breakdown and had to go to a mental institution. The main cause was that as a young man who believes wholeheartedly in God's word, I wanted to provide. I wanted to get married and get a job. But the climate right now in South Africa was clear that that's not going to happen. My artistic dreams went to the wayside. I'm an illustrator and I'm an actor. All of that went to the wayside. And when I realized how powerless I am, I completely lost it and I started harming myself. I wanted to harm others, but I knew I'd go to jail for it. So I started harming myself and I went to a mental institution for a day. And now they've given me medication and I'm doing much better. Now, I'm saying this because there's a lot of young people, young men, who have similar experiences to what I had, a mental breakdown. And the first thing they want to do is not harm themselves, but harm others. They weren't able to get help. You see, I was fortunate enough to get help just in time before I did something crazy. So in all honesty, we need to discuss this. We need to talk about these problems here in South Africa. It's not just political problems. The youth is dying, is suffering. People are divided. You know, if honestly I never got help, I probably would have killed somebody. You know, and burned in hell forever and ever. So we need to talk about almost everything what's happening here. And because we're the youth, we're going to inherit this land, and we need to make sure everybody is sober in the mind. No more of this stupid hip hop, twerking, booty stuff anymore. If I was president, I would ban all of that and put people right back in line. Far right conservatism at its finest, you know. So yeah, I look forward to that. That'd be great, and yeah, that'd be fun.
Okay, Muzi, I have to ask you the question, which is really something that disturbs me greatly. And I'm talking about certain elements within the black population in South Africa.
Mm-hmm.
They believe in witchcraft, and they believe in muti and things like this. And we have these terrible farm murders that are going on in South Africa, where not only do they go and break in and steal, but you know the atrocities they do are just horrific. I mean, they're demonic. They're just disgusting. And the crazy part is the world looks the other way. They don't do anything. The mainstream media just pretend it's not happening. But think about it. If there was a black person who was facing the same fate as that white person, it would be world news for weeks. What are your views on that with the mainstream media?
The mainstream media has an agenda to label all white people as nothing but racist monsters. Since day one, they've been racist monsters. There is white genocide happening in the media today. I mostly pay attention to American news because whatever happens in America also happens here. And that side, there is numerous black on black crimes that is never reported. But as soon as one white person shoots up a church or shoots one black person, it is trending all over the place. White people are this, the white man's the enemy, a white man a terrorist. You know, and the people who report on these things, they're mostly black, and you do get self-hating white liberals for some reason. And an example would be like Don Lemon of the CNN network, a very satanic, far left network, who said white people are terrorists, but he's married to a white man. So it's like, what the heck are you talking about? And honestly, this farm murdering is out of control. I don't know if this is some form of revenge that black people are doing. It's very stupid because the very same people who are killing these farmers, they don't know how to farm. I remember a video you posted last year of like they slaughtered a whole cow, 2 cows, I think. It was like split open and the guts were laying down. That was infuriating. That's like, you destructive savages. Why would you do something like that? It's not like you killed the cow, took some stuff from it so you can go and sell it, be productive. You just killed it and ran. I mean, this is the retardation that I see amongst black people, is that, guys, you do realize you're harming yourselves, right? These farmers are the ones who are providing food security in this country. If you murder them, now what? Because you don't know how to farm of that in that kind of scale. You don't know how to do that. If these farmers leave and sell their land to the government, we're screwed. If they sell it to the Chinese, we're dead. You know. So I do not condone this violence, and these black people who are into ancestors and witchcraft, but still claim they go to church and love Jesus, they are fully satanic, and they've clearly never read the fact that all who practice magic arts will burn in the lake of fire. This is another problem. As we were talking earlier, when you said Fiji has a system in which they shame everybody for doing things. This country, there is no shame. I'm watching the news right now. Now they're talking about HIV Day, and let's not stigmatize people with HIV. In my opinion, if you went around being promiscuous and in your own free will, you didn't get raped and you didn't get injected with AIDS, you have to be shamed for it. It's your problem. It's your fault for being promiscuous. It's your fault for being a whore. Guy or girl, it's your fault. So, yeah, the mainstream media is trying to label all white people as murderers. The recent video, I don't know if you saw it, the person called Aneta was killed by a white farmer. Did you see that?
I don't think so, no.
Oh, okay. Well, he killed this Sangoma, this black guy, in front of his family.
Oh, yes, I saw that. Yes.
You saw it?
Yes.
Yeah. Massive outrage. I go on Twitter, black people say, white people never loved us, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, what's there to love? What do you have to offer so that they can love you? Huh? What? Because I don't expect anyone to love me at all. But if you're going to love anybody, love them because the Lord said so. If you don't believe in this, fine. Love them because they offer something. They have something to contribute to society. So, of course, that was pushed a great deal. You know, it was on SABC News, blah, blah, blah. But, as you said, they don't show the farm murders. They don't show the atrocities black people are doing. In all honesty, around the area I used to stay in a year ago, a bunch of racist black people went into an old age home where it's mostly white people, slaughtered the grannies there. And it's like, this never made the news. Yeah. Another place in this state, far from me, a white woman was raped and hacked with a axe. That never made the news. And it's like, what's going on? Why Why are you making white people? It's as if they're trying to push white people to do what they say they are, which is racist, mercenaries, basically, who just want to kill people. They just want white people to explode or to kill themselves because young white men, especially in schools today, I feel sorry for them. Like in high school, I'm pretty sure they're being bullied for things they didn't know until they were told that, hey, your grandfather did this to my granddaddy. How's that his fault? He wasn't there.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Well, look, Muzi, I have to tell you that you are a remarkable young man. I mean, you're someone in my channel, when I refer generally to what the ANC do, I'm talking about the corruption and the politics and the terrible the way they're destroying South Africa. And I have often said in my videos that there is a huge percentage of black Africans in South Africa who understand what's going on but feel unempowered. They don't know how they can actually get back and you know, be part of the system because they feel like the ANC have just taken over the whole thing. What are your thoughts on that?
No, I agree. There are a lot of young South Africans, surely like me, you know, who do feel discouraged because, as I said earlier, there isn't a role model for young men to put their foot down and be assertive. Whenever you in a public space and you speak fully, you know, and show that you're a man, you're being aggressive. You're seen as angry. No, calm down, shh, quiet. We don't want to hear that. The bass in your voice is too much, you know. In varsity, I experienced the same thing. We'd have debates all the time, and the school I was in, it's majority females, and that's something maybe we can talk about one day. That all the schools, where the school I was in, 90% girls in the students, 90% women in the staff as well. So all men are just being effeminized, number one, and number two, they don't have a role model. In the end, it has to be the men who take charge to make a difference. But how can they if there aren't any role models? You know, the right, correct foundation that is to be instilled in every young man is not being instilled. And the only true foundation, the rock that they have to receive is this, because this word is ancient and it will always be there. The world changes, but the Lord Jesus never changes. So this is the problem, is that again, people are fed false information. There's a lot of ignorance, and there isn't any publications of people like me at all on mainstream media that, hey, there are people doing this. If you hear of people like me doing this, the problem with black people is that they very much so, for some reason, despise working with each other. For some reason, primarily, I'd say it's out of pride. They want to be the ones in control, showing off for some stupid reason. And I've always said that, guys, if we are to change this country, we need 1 million black people willing to die in the front lines. 1 million. If no one is willing to die, then all of you are just worthless, empty vessels, and you have no backbone. You're not a man, you're nothing. You know, I'm willing to die for my people, but I'm not going to if I know nobody has my back. The only person I'm willing to die for is the Lord Jesus Christ. That's it. You see, this is the kind of foundation that is needed. We just don't see it. Our only role models are these retarded hip hop stars, you know. And for young men growing up, they see these retards twerking and dancing and say, oh, this is how you get girls. Then they get the wrong girls, mess up their life, they get AIDS, and it's a catastrophe. So the mainstream media is purposely doing this to suppress young men like me, right, to discourage the youth further. And as I said earlier, young men who, because the suicide rate in the country, I researched it, is 14 to 18 young men commit suicide in this country every single
Wow.
day.
Wow.
Yeah. And that's the problem because they don't have any role models. And those who fail at committing suicide, if they live long enough, they become the rapists. They become the murderers. Because above all else, it looks like men are disrespected. Like there is no respect for being a man now. Young or old, it's like you're a man, don't tell me what to do, don't man explain to me, blah blah blah. And the guys who live long enough to be omega level fed up with this, they're the ones who start killing. The guys who grew up without fathers, so on and so on, in harsh neighborhoods, they start killing and raping, so on and so on. So it's the media's fault, it's the government's fault, it's Ramaphosa's fault. Ramaphosa started a program to say he's going to empower the youth. There's going to be like 600,000 jobs within 2 years. He lied. I mean, where is that program now? It was training on Twitter last year. It's gone now. The website's probably shut down. The dude lied. And I know if I were to go to, let's say, the townships, if I dare speak like this, if I speak English this way, they'll hate me. They'll say, oh, yeah, you and your bougie English. Just yesterday on the news on 5FM, I heard in Parliament some guy saying, we do not care about you and your proud English. Just because you can pronounce things like we should listen to you. I mean, look at this. This is retarded. You're not going to listen to someone because they sound more educated than you. This is retardation at its finest. And that's the problem with black people, is that don't listen to how I say things. Listen to what I'm saying to you. Because what I'm saying to you is what's going to change your situation.
Okay, Muzi, I have to ask you something, and this I think is the huge disconnect between racism, and it's something that I've picked up, and I've just it's become clearer and clearer to me, is that the cadres like Julius Malema hide behind the mantle that because we are inferior to the white people intellectually, we cannot be racist. It's only the white people who can be racist because they are superior to us. And if you're superior to us, then you can be racist. But we can do whatever we like, we can say whatever we like, but because we're inferior, we're not racist. Now, look, that's a message that's coming subliminally through to me from people like Julius Malema. What are your thoughts on that?
I didn't pick that up from him, but I remember in school there were black people who said that black people can't be racist. Only white people can be racist. But I didn't know that the reason was because black people are intellectually less superior than white people. I know you shared a study done of IQ levels amongst all the races, Asians being the highest and Negroes being the lowest. I'd say I can't fully agree that study is super accurate, because I would say I have the same level of capacity as an Asian. Sure, I might not be good as math as them.
Hang on, Muzi. Can I interrupt you for a second? You know what I love talking to you about is because I feel that you and I are intellectually at the same level. Okay? And that's what I love about this. I mean, I'm absolutely delighted that we have this connection. So go ahead.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so as you said, I feel as if I have the intellectual capacity as an Asian or any white person, so on and so on. So the fact that these black people are saying we can't be racist, we can say whatever we want. I'm not sure. Let's say like Malema, I'm truly not sure if he's aware how stupid he's being. Is he aware? Is his agenda to make black people so upset and so, feel inferior to the point where the only way to feel superior is to murder people? Is he doing these things on purpose? Because, looking at it logically, there is just no ways that makes any sense. Like, that's wrong, Julius. You can't say something like that. It's stupid. It's retarded. I can't even comprehend it because it's that dumb. Like, white people are superiors, so only they can be racist. It's so stupid. I just can't. I just honestly cannot comprehend that. So I'll just say only retards say things like that. That's all I can say.
Yeah, well, look, let's face it. Julius Malema is on the take. He's a criminal. He's been stealing. Limpopo. He stole millions of rands, and he bought properties and things like that from, backhanders from companies that were involved with the Gauteng municipalities. Look, that's undeniable, and the fact that he has not been brought before the courts is what I'm saying is a huge issue in South Africa. It's because of the contacts and the people he knows within the National Prosecuting Authority and the Hawks that are stopping him being actually charged. And that is the problem. That's where South Africa is coming apart, because you got this disconnect between, you take Vicky Momberg, who had her car broken into, and she was trying to call the police for hours and hours and hours, and when they eventually came, she was absolutely out of her mind, and she used the K word, and she is now inside for 2 years for using that K word. Yeah, she's behind prison walls right now for 2 years because she used the K word. Used it 48 times. They actually counted them with the video. You can actually 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But she was absolutely out of it. She was out of her mind. She was totally, she wasn't in the right space. But now, if you watch it, all the news articles, it's the racist Vicky Momberg, which I think is so incredibly hateful to her. I mean, she was obviously under duress. And she is now behind bars for 2 years. And yet you've got people like Julius Malema, who's stolen millions of rands from municipalities.
Everyone.
Think about the VBS Mutual Bank, the money that's been stolen there. And he's walking around like he's, just someone really special. There is a huge disconnect in the judicial system in South Africa.
Yeah, I agree, and that's absolutely not fair. I remember a long time ago, 3 years ago, a white supermodel in the country called a black person the K word. But I still don't understand how, I saw in your comments yesterday where someone said, trying to explain to a black person where the origins of the K word comes from is like talking to a brick wall. I agree, because we know that's an Arabic term for non-believer. And it's like, you black people, if you understood the origins of that word, it would not have power over you, and it wouldn't set you off, and you wouldn't wrongfully put a woman under serious distress in prison for 2 years.
Yeah.
You see, I don't understand how on earth they choose to remain ignorant. I don't know why. And let's not even start talking about the education system here because of that retard, Jacob Zuma, who, dropped the passing percentage to 30% or 40%, but it's a lot lower now. So I don't understand that. Why don't black people want to educate themselves? It truly liberates you from being a victim, from reacting in ways that you shouldn't just because of your lack of understanding. So that's really not fair. I didn't know she was put in there for 2 years. I thought it was just like she was just charged. She was going to be fined. I didn't know she was in there for 2 years now. It's bad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, Muzi, look, I have to tell you that it has been so amazing to meet someone like you. I mean, I watched your video that you put up, and there's a link below this video. People can go to that channel and they can see your challenge to loving life. Now, you said to me that you found my videos to be racially divisive. Can you please tell my audience why you felt that way?
This was last year, so I haven't watched most of your recent stuff. It's just at the time, perhaps I was not as grounded as I am now, but there was, the way you would describe black dysfunction versus white prosperity. It truly sounded like you were putting all black people in the same zoo, in the same jungle, and all white people in the heavens, and I felt like, well, Scott, that's not fair because I'm not like them, and just because you don't encounter people like me doesn't mean all of us are like that. It's definitely it's definitely 98% of them, but there is a 2%, So I felt as if this racial divisive tone was really, really creating a new form of segregation now, even now online, to the point where you don't talk to white people in the public because, well, you hate them or something, or white people don't talk to you because they think you're stupid or something. But now, imagine if someone had a name like mine, Muzi, say, oh, that's an African name. I'm not going to chat to him. What does he have to say? His comments are invalid. If I were to make a comment, let's say on your channel last year, I felt as if I would be looked down upon because of my African name, because your audience have had the cup of division. And I was like, this is not cool because we're all in this country and not everyone can leave, And as I said in other discussion that in Europe, one of my friends, my classmates, was sent back despite her being white, simply because there's an agenda to fulfill that side. They have to bring in all the crazy Muslims, from the East. So not everyone can leave, and it's like, this is our country. We are not our grandfathers and our fathers. We are who we are now. There cannot be any divisive language. We need to come together and have one singular vision. And this is the greatest way to come together because there is no division in Christ. We're all equal. So I just felt that you called one monkey, you didn't say that, but I just felt like, okay, I feel like an ape being in this channel. It feels like he wouldn't want to listen to me at all, or any of my points, neither would his audience. So I'm begging the audience, if you're watching this, please let us have intellectual conversations like this. Let us, come together in the body of Christ, because human ideologies always lead to greed and devastation. The book was not written by man, it was brought by the Europeans, but the Europeans didn't write it, the Lord wrote it. So it's the only way we can come together. And because anyone who's around my age group or far younger than the idiots in power, we want to inherit this land. So it's for the best, it's to our own interests that we come together and talk and not fight. Because if we kill each other, it's going to make a lot more easier for China to come and just wipe all of us out, So yeah, that was my biggest problem with the racial divisive language.
Okay, well, look, let me assure you, Muzi, that as we discussed earlier today, I grew up in East Africa. And as a
Yeah.
young kid, I mean, I was like a toddler. My friends were black Africans. I mean, there were no other whites in Aringa where I lived in East Africa. And
Mm-hmm.
I am totally colorblind. Um, I am just absolutely devastated by what this corrupt ANC communist, South African Communist Party, COSATU, the ANC, they're all in the same bed. They are totally destroying South Africa. And the fruits
Mm-hmm.
are evident. I mean, I don't have to say anything. Look what's happening with Transnet. Look what's happening with Prava. Look what's happening with South African Airways. Look what's happening with Eskom right now. 4 hours. Oh, what's it?
Yeah.
Level 4 load shedding. I mean, this is happening under the ANC watch because they are all on the take. They're stealing madly. And I have often said on this channel that most black Africans, and believe me, that embraces you, are wonderful, good people. But those who've taken over power in South Africa are like Satan.
I agree. They are working for Satan himself. And unfortunately, the majority, even those who are not in power, but the ones who favor the ANC, they would kill someone like me because they'll call me an outsider. Despite the fact that I grew up in the townships too.
Don't go into your personal details, okay? Just
okay, yeah.
just keep it
yeah,
relevant. Yeah.
all right. They, as I said earlier, I mean, just because of the way I pronounce things, they wouldn't want to listen to me, you know.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's horrible. It's truly horrible.
It's absolutely shocking. Now, look, we've got a huge number of people watching here. I'm just
how many are watching?
let me just have a look and see. We got close to 100 people watching right now. Now,
Oh, okay. What's up, everybody?
I'm going to say, Glenn is one of my moderators. Glenn, are there any questions people would like to ask Mzuzi?
Muzi.
Muzi.
Yeah.
I apologize. Now, Muzi, while we're waiting, because it takes time for people to respond to that sort of stuff. Okay, now, you have a YouTube channel. How long have you had that going?
I actually started it in the beginning of the year where I was just posting Bible teachings, and I got very discouraged because I got no views, except for one. You can go watch that one. It's called Defending Casey Standy's, something about Casey Standy, where she was going to marry a black Mexican and she was being eaten alive by racist white people from Texas. And I just wanted to defend her that, hey, as a Christian, it's okay. I mean, here's the evidence. Yeah. But I had it for a year and then I stopped doing it. So I only just came back and started again, like 4 days ago. Yeah. So it'd be great if people can, like, you know, check it out. But what I mostly talk about there is, you know, Western issues as a whole stemming from America, because just like the LGBT stuff, it's coming here, and I saw it on the news on Monday. You know, it's starting to corrupt society here, and they're gonna start teaching that stuff in schools next year. You know,
that's shocking.
So yeah, there is a lot more going on than just the political idiots. It's the moral idiocy is taking over, and I'm trying to push back at that to just tell people that, hey, we can't let this happen. We can't sit back and let ANC kill us and let the LGBT people kill us. We can't do that.
Well, I have to tell you that you are the first black African right-wing conservative I have ever met. Congratulations.
Really? Yes, good for me.
So, what was the basis of you formulating your own ideology in life?
You know, long ago, I'd say I've always been a nerd, a geek, and not liked by my own people because I didn't like hip hop. I grew up in a home of two parents. Most of my friends and so on didn't. If they did, for some reason, it wasn't so well, And just witnessing how the order in the house was really made my mindset, well structured,
Yeah.
where I could be focused in all things, So just growing up, seeing the dysfunction and subtle trash happening, I analyze and ask myself, why is this person doing this? How did they grow up compared to me? And then I find out that, it's not the same. It's not the same system that they came up from. And then I started seeking religion, started seeking the Lord. I attended the churches here in the country, all of them, retarded, satanic. It was just stupid. And so I left that and I joined Islam because I thought Allah is the way, because the Muslims are so proper, well structured, and I wanted order in my life because
Right.
I realized that I don't have the power to sanctify myself. I don't have the power to walk on a narrow path because I don't even know which one's the right narrow path. So that's why I went to Islam, because it looked very, very narrow. Once I was in Islam, started reading the Quran, the Hadith, I realized that Muhammad was not perfect. He had to repent of his sins, so of course that means he wasn't perfect. He was a murderer. He married a 9-year-old girl. There's a lot that he did. And then I was like, okay, something is wrong here. The Quran contradicts history, theology, and, spiritual stuff. Then I just seek out the Lord even more. Then I had a spiritual experience, and behold, Christ Jesus appeared, and he gave me understanding. And ever since then, I have been reading his word left to right, in and out, reading all the other religions so I can decapitate it. And my form of my logic, my ideology, my let's say my processing power was increased. I just felt as if I had more wisdom now because I understood Bible and so on and so on. So I give all credit to Jesus Christ, because I was somewhat ignorant before I got saved, and as soon as I repented, I had a great understanding of a lot of things that matter. A lot of things that matter, and I could see the bigger picture of the whole of humanity now. So it was somewhat of a supernatural thing, and everyone can have the same experience. It's just just repent.
You know,
But that's my story.
Muzi, that everyone has their own personal journey when it comes to Christianity, and
Yeah.
mine goes back a long way, and yours is obviously very rich for you, which is fantastic. I just want to say that it's been an absolutely amazing experience talking to you, and I'm sure we're going to be doing this regularly in the future. Your
Yes.
YouTube channel is linked below this video, so people can go and have a look at your videos, including the one where you refer to me as perhaps using a racist, divisive thing, and that was not my intention. My intention has always been just to draw attention to how South Africa is just falling apart under the ANC government, and I think that's self-apparent. I have got a question for you from someone here. Let me just try and find it.
Okay.
Let me just grab it. Okay, Scala Malewa says, can you ask Muzi if he is convinced about your racial divisive language response? Because you are not fighting for general poor, but for the whites.
Oh, that's a good question. I am convinced, actually, because the only thing that Scott is doing. It's just reporting on what the government is doing. It feels to me as if the government was white and was screwing white people over, like as you see in France, the president, what Emmanuel Macron, is screwing the people over, and that's why everybody's rioting and burning things down. You know, I'm pretty sure Scott would report fairly without any bias. It just so happens that the government in power is a bunch of black people. So I am convinced. But I will say that, yeah, Scott, remember when I said in our earlier discussion that we all, as a Rainbow Nation, not all of us can leave, you know, so in all honesty, it's because you've never encountered someone like me. So now that you have, well, we'll see in the future what you know your plans are, how we can fix this problem, so on and so on. But to the person asking the question, I am convinced that Scott is not racist. I'm convinced that he was just trying to give a solution that he took personally. He, you know, stepped out of the country. That was his own personal solution, and I'm offering a different one. So at the end of the day, there's such a thing as black privilege here, and I can prove that because one of my old classmates, she graduated and became a lecturer simply just because she's a black woman, even though she didn't have a master's degree, and there was somebody else, a man, who was black too. He had a master's degree, and he was 47 years old. She was 26, but she got the job just because she was a black woman. So there is such a thing as black privilege, and well, black women have more privilege than black men. So, yeah, that's my answer.
Okay. Now, I'm just looking at another question here. Kuje asks, I think Mzuzi has the right message. The battle with us is spiritual more than intellectual. Does he think non-believers will be able to get on board with a shared spiritual ethos? And how do we do
Wonderful
it?
question. And how do we?
How do we do it?
Oh, wonderful question. Hallelujah, brother. Hallelujah. Yes, I believe non-believers can come along for one reason, that we do not go back on our word, that we are the example, that we show them that our feet are firmly planted on the ideas that we are preaching. Despite anyone from any religion, they see a man, a person, who upholds their moral values to the core, do not shake under any pressure, they will follow that person. Because that is a real leader, and that is real strength. To be unshaken by anything shows all humans that this person, these people are serious. At the end of the day, if a non-believer does not believe in Christ Jesus, it's fine. Because I'm pretty sure that person wants peace, right? And we want peace. At the end of the day, we all want harmony. But you're going to have to abide by the fact that harmony can only be achieved through this. Because this doesn't segregate people, does not harm anyone. We're just saying, hey, this is what we have to do. And we're not going to change this to fit certain people. We're not going to do that. If you want to join, come ahead. We're not going to shove anything down your throat. We're just going to let you know, okay, this is how we're doing it. You in or out. Simple, you know. Because honestly, this is our last chance. There's nothing else that's going to work, in my opinion. So, yeah, I think they can join.
Fantastic.
Fantastic.
Now, is there anything you'd like to say to my audience?
Yes. First of all, thank you, Scott, for allowing me to be on your channel. Dear audience, I hope I didn't offend any of you, but please check out my YouTube channel. I mostly talk about political stuff in America that affects us. I have discussion videos with my cousin who's coming later. He too, Scott, is like me. He has a economics degree, so he has way more knowledge in terms of what's happening economically, so on and so on. So maybe sometime we can include him as well, and then we all three of us have a discussion. But yeah, my channel is about just discussing current events, how it affects us, how it affects the youth, and the solutions to all these things. I hope and pray that all of you are not willing to lay down and let the idiot ANC kill us. You're not willing to let the far liberal ideologies kill us. I hope all of you are ready to fight, but to fight intellectually. And at the end of the day, this is our foundation. And if this is our foundation, we cannot be shaken at all. And we will have the courage, if ever the day comes, where people just want to hunt us down, we will have the courage to stand firm and be like, go ahead. At the end of the day, we did what we had to do. And those watching, they will be empowered. They'll be empowered. So yeah, that's all I wanted to say.
Muzi, I have to tell you, you're like a brother. You're just someone I just can totally relate to. And what I would like to do on this channel is to perhaps have you coming on perhaps once a month or something like that, where we actually discuss things that are happening in South Africa, getting your perspective on the ground in South Africa, and we can discuss issues and stuff like that. If you're interested in doing that, please let me know, because I think it's so important that people in South Africa and around the world realize that the majority of the black population in South Africa are wonderful people. But what's happened is you've got this small little ANC group who've just totally sabotaged the country and taken it to a place where it shouldn't be.
I totally agree, and I'm all for it. Definitely. Now I feel like my life is worth something. As a young man, I felt that I'm totally useless. Lord, what was the point of me being this way if I cannot contribute anything to anyone? Let me feel like I can help someone. And being on your channel, I hope I have helped somebody. I hope I have enlightened somebody. I feel like I know why I was born now. So thank you, Scott, for this opportunity. I don't feel like a worthless moron anymore. I feel like a person with something to offer now.
Well, believe me, Muzi, you are not a worthless human being. You are an incredibly important human being. And I just wish that people like you were actually in power in South Africa, because, what you have is a situation where the whole system is completely been corrupted.
I agree. But our main objective with my channel, straight up, is to be the spokesperson for the youth. Me and my cousin are trying to build up this channel, this organization, basically, to be a voice of the youth, so we can go on TV.
Does the organization have a name?
Pardon?
Does the organization have a name?
Yes, straight up. It's the name of the channel.
Okay.
Straight up.
But do you have that registered anywhere in South Africa?
No, we actually just started it 4 days ago.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, look.
Yeah. So
look. Let me tell you, Muzi, that the Loving Life channel will support you 100%, and try and help you to build that, because what we're talking about here, which is so incredibly important, is that when Mandela walked out of the prison in 1994, it was all about the Rainbow Nation. And now if you look at all the racist policies that the ANC have brought in, like BEE and Triple B, Double E, which the only people they're empowering are the people at the top, because they're the only ones who are getting the benefits. Everybody else is just, they're getting nothing at all. In fact, they're going backwards. You look at the municipalities with sewerage, with water, with electricity. I mean, the whole thing is just going absolutely pear-shaped. Now, what we need is a new set of leaders in South Africa who understand how corrupt the ANC are and who can come in and try and turn the country around. Now, look, I don't know what your political aspirations are, but let me just say that you speak a lot of sense as far as I'm concerned. Over to you.
Thank you. In terms of my political aspirations, in all honesty, all I want to do is primarily to get people to Christ Jesus. I know I'd get killed. If I try to run for president, I'll get killed before anything. So it'd be somewhat of a waste. That's why, firstly, if we can just bring people together, have our own, the organization Straight Up, someone from Straight Up, not me, can rise to push these ideas. But I personally don't want to be that person. I don't mind helping that person out, so on and so on, but we have to agree with the policies of Straight Up that are rooted in this, So, I don't want to be president. I just want to get people to heaven mostly and stop people from fighting each other and hating each other. That's all. But yeah, I have no idea where this is going to go. It's very exciting. And I look forward to everything, really.
Fantastic. Now, are there any other questions, Glenn, that people have posted that I've missed? If we can look at those now, and then we're going to shut down this live stream.
All right.
Sorry, Muzi, I just have to wait for this to go through. It takes a little while to go through. So, Muzi, I have to tell you that I am just blown away, because you remind me of someone when I was a little kid, and I was about 4 years old, and I was growing up in Aringa, and my mate was this, I've forgotten what his name is now, it was so long ago, but, we used to hang out together, and you remind me so much of him.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'm an African, and 70% of my channel viewers, which is, it's about 50,000 viewers, subscribers, are living in South Africa. Now, probably 99% of them are white people. Okay, so let's get that clear. That's the situation. But they understand that I am an African. And I grew up in an African community in a place called Aringa. That's Iringa in Tanzania. And my father worked for Tanganyika Farmers Association. That's back in the early 1960s. We're talking history. We aren't talking recent times, okay? We're talking way back then. But, I just feel such a connection to you. I can understand what you're saying. I can understand your there's so much more you could be saying, but you're not, because you're obviously concerned about the ramifications, and I get that. I totally get that.
Yeah.
I feel so connected. It's amazing. Now, I'm just going to say, look, I'm actually about to move home, so I'm actually moving to another.
Oh, you're coming back.
I'm moving to another property, physical property in
Oh.
Brisbane, in Australia,
Mhm.
hopefully in the next week. Um,
Mhm.
so what we'll do is we'll just keep in contact, and um, you know, I would like to suggest that once every 2 weeks or once every month we have a get together where
Mhm.
we discuss, and you can look at all my videos and you can say, well, you got this wrong, or you got that wrong, or that sounded a bit racist or whatever, and so we can have this
Yeah.
discussion. So we can start integrating the whole thing so that it's moving forward. How do you feel about
Okay.
that?
Sounds great. Yeah, I'd say every 2 weeks is proper.
Okay,
Every two
fantastic.
weeks sounds good. Yeah.
Alrighty. Look, to my live stream, all those people watching, thank you so much for being here. I'm going to be shutting off the channel in a short while. And to Muzi, who contacted me while I was in Fiji, and I've just got back from Fiji, and I watched his video, and I was really impressed by this fellow, and I think you guys are impressed by him too. Um, we're going to be having a lot more discussions, because this is what we need to do. We need to go across that line, and as Muzi said, and we need to just start working together as a team and getting rid of all the scum that are running South Africa.
Agreed. So no more questions from the people?
Well, okay. Glenn says, awesome live stream, Scott. And Peter says, excellent live stream, Scott. Great to have Muzi involved. And so
Glad you guys
you've
like
got
it.
that's a general message that people are saying, that they're absolutely delighted that we've made contact.
Awesome.
Alrighty, I'm going to shut off the channel now, but Muzi, we will be talking again soon, and please
Okay.
look after yourself. Take care. I know things are dangerous in South Africa.
Yeah.
I'm absolutely blessed that we've made this contact.
I feel the same. Thanks, Scott. Thanks for everything.
Okay, take care, buddy.
Okay.
Bye for now.
Bye.
Bye.